Hey everybody, LeeSpeed here. Welcome to my first Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Aren't we missing something? Yeah, we are, aren't we? Well, you know what? Cue it. Yeah, you saw it there first. The intro is back, and yeah, I guess it's a better late than never, I guess. I don't know, I still don't have a capture card because I really don't feel like it's worth the money that I'd spend on it, to be completely honest, especially at this point in time for me. It's not a worthwhile investment on my behalf. But nonetheless, you might ask, well, how did you do this then? Well, I didn't do that. I had a friend who did offer, to record my battles and stuff like that. And at first, I was like, wait, what? Because I've brought it up multiple times that, the only way I would be posting these at this point in time would be if someone else recorded my battles. And I pretty much said, yeah, we're probably going to scratch it because I don't think anyone's going to really do that. Especially because, I don't know how long it takes to record these. I don't have one myself, so I don't know the whole process, the length it takes to record these and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I can only imagine it might have taken some time, but apparently for EVGirl 22, it didn't take her long at all. But I'm not even sure like how many of these I'm gonna even post, because unlike Showdown Lives, I can record them myself at any time if I need to, and upload them whenever. This is one of those cases where I have to have someone else record it. They're not always going to be online and stuff like that, so gotta pick a time when they're online, and I gotta get the file too, which actually took a little bit of time, but not as long as it would have if you would just send it to me through Skype, which takes like forever. But anyways, with that being said though, yeah, you're pretty much seeing this on the screen. This and the fact that, yeah, I was actually able to bring over mods from Bank, which I thought I wasn't going to be able to do at first because I thought I was going to need something else, which ended up just being, I don't know, I needed to like fix my internet settings or something crazy like that. But I was actually able to bring things over, and yeah, you're seeing some classic favorites from back in the days of Gen 5. And I was so happy to use these guys. In fact, that's kind of what this team was. It was just kind of randomly put together. And to be honest, that's kind of the whole premise, because when this battle took place, this was about like a couple of days after Pokebank had been released finally, and YuseiTheSynchroHero was streaming at the time. So at that point, we were all bringing stuff over from Pokebank, making teams and stuff like that. And I was one of the later people that he battled and stuff like that, and it was actually pretty good. There was a couple of misplays by my behalf and stuff like that, but yeah, what can you do? Stuff happens. But I guess another thing I want to bring up before the battle begins is that this technically isn't the first Wi-Fi battle I'm doing. Again, I'm not gonna be really, I'm not sure how often I'm gonna be doing these, so I'm probably not even gonna upload them in any particular order. So you might see like my first Wi-Fi battle posted like later, or you might even see it next. I have no idea, whichever one I feel like having recorded, I guess, because remember, I'm not recording these right now. And I'll let you know if I actually do get one, which I'm not even sure when that's gonna be, to be completely honest. But yeah, EVGirl 22 is who you should thank for these. And yeah, I tried messing around with the quality a little bit, using some filters and stuff like that. Same filters I used when I recorded my Gen 5 Wi-Fi battles in the past, so maybe it looks good, maybe it doesn't, but I don't know. But anyways, let's not waste any more time, and let's get into the battles. I guess on another side note, as far as like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, I'm not sure if I'm going to be uploading those like right after this. I'll definitely post them soon enough, but I've just been having more fun with this stuff, so Anyways, on to this battle. I'm going to lead with my Aurora, the Gardevoir, and YuseiTheSynchroHero is going to lead with Celebi. Now, right here, he kind of surprised me a little bit. He outspeeds and goes for the U-turn. Now, why would that surprise me, you may ask? Well, I was thinking it was a bulkier Celebi, like a slower, bulkier variant with Stealth Rock. And that's actually why I went for Taunt there, because I didn't want him setting up Stealth Rock if I can help it there. So, anyways, he goes into Scizor now. I don't know if it's like Choice Bandit, Mega SD, whatever the case is, I cannot stand with the Mega Gardevoir. So I go into Rotom, arguably the best switch into it. And I'm going to threaten it out immediately with a Will-O-Wisp. Now, I didn't go for Volt Switch because I didn't want him staying and predicting me to Volt Switch and getting a free SD up. It would be pretty nasty, so I had to make the safest play there. And now, seeing the Celebi, and I'm going to bring in the Registeel to take just about any one of its hits. Even if it's super effective, it won't do too much damage because the Registeel's incredible defensive stats. And he's going to bring in his Landers, which the Intimidate does nothing, and it won't even matter anyways because, you know, I'm not going to be attacking. I'm just going to have my Registeel set up Stealth Rock, so we're pretty much going to swap, or we're going to exchange Stealth Rocks rather. Now, I go back into my rolls. I'm expecting Earthquake, but he does go for Knockoff, predicting my switch, but arguably U-turn might have been the better move because Rotom was pretty easy to see coming in, and he could have won the Celebi on my switch into Rotom, but now I get the chance to go for the Volt Switch myself, expecting his Celebi to come in because I know he's not going to want to take a Hydro Pump, and Landers doesn't really have any business staying in anyways. So I go into my Gallade, and I'm going to go right for the Ice Punch. Now, I could have went for Close Combat if I was expecting his Mega Scizor to come in, but something tells me that he wasn't going to bring that in. Especially if I did expect it and went for Close Combat, it would do a lot of damage, despite the Mega Scizor's bulk. But he brings in Landers, kind of blinking out on the fact that Gallade can have Ice Punch, and that's exactly what happens. Now, because of the attack drop and because he threatens me with the Bullet Punch, I'm thinking, well, I'll save him for later on, and you're going to kind of see how that comes into play, I guess. Now, I'm bringing Registeel to take the Bullet Punch. I know he wasn't going to go for the Superpower, and here he goes for the Knockoff, just to knock off the leftovers, just so that, you know, Registeel doesn't have that extra recovery going about. And yeah, I'm going to have him go for the Seismic Toss, which looked awesome, which, you know, I think that kind of goes without saying, and he proceeds to knock out my Registeel with the Superpower. Now, because of his lowered attack and defensive stats, I'm thinking, alright, I know I could probably take one hit and retaliate with Close Combat. And that's pretty much what he's going to do. He's knock out that Mega Scizor with the Close Combat. But because he has a Life Orb, it's pretty much going to be a double down. But that's alright, because now I could bring in my Choice Scarfed Garchomp. Because now his Scizor and Landers are gone. I could pretty much go into this and click Outrage, basically. Or if he went into Terrakion, I would just go for Earthquake. Or even Outrage, because I know Terrakion can't come out in one hit. Unless maybe it was Choice Bandit or something. And even then, Garchomp has really good bulk, so he could probably live one hit. But anyways, I knock out the Celebi, and then I do a lot of damage to that Rotom, because I find out later on in that battle that the Rotom Wash was in fact especially defensive and not a physically bulky. And he does hit the Will-O-Wisp, which is pretty important, because if he had missed it, well, let's just say Garchomp would have a field day for the rest of the battle, basically. So, yeah, I get a knockout with the Outrage, and he's going to bring in the Terrakion. Now, I'll make a very questionable play. In fact, I kind of wanted to facepalm myself multiple times when this happened. Heck, when I looked back at this, I forced myself not to pretty much hit myself for this dumb play. I stay in with Garchomp and try to go for Outrage. I was thinking of foddering this off. Not sure if that was the best idea though, because I could have foddered something else off, bringing Celebi, maybe get a hit off with Giga Drain, and if that wasn't enough, then I can revenge kill it with Garchomp. It would have been better than just letting Garchomp die right away. So yeah, you're pretty much seeing that. I bring in Mega Gardevoir, which is just gonna die. I guess I was banking on Gardevoir being faster and him being adamant, and the speed differences maybe mattering. I don't know. But anyways, I bring in Celebi. He's going to miss a Stone Edge, and I go for a Giga Drain. And then he's going to miss another Stone Edge, and I just knock it out with another Giga Drain. So it's pretty much like, yeah, Stone Miss doing its thing, as per usual, I guess. Now, in comes Greninja. Now, I do run Psychic on the Celebi, but the problem with going for that is if you went for Dark Pulse would have pretty much just made him a pure Dark type, and Psychic would have done no damage. And I would have rather gotten some damage than none, especially at the end of the game. I mean, it was arguably the safer option, but I kind of should have figured that U-turn might have been a good move too, because, you know, it had a chance to maybe knock me out if he had enough attack investment, which he didn't. So yeah, he knocked it out with Dark Pulse, and then I bring in my Rotom, and he's going to knock it out with the U-turn, and that's going to be the game. So yeah, first uploaded Wi-Fi battle. No, I feel kind of rusty because I haven't done post commentary in a while, and yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that, heck, I'm not even sure how often these will be going up, if at all, because remember, I'm not recording these at the moment. So yeah, again, EVGirl22 was who did that, so that's definitely who I gotta give a lot of props to and stuff like that, and that's how you're even seeing the stuff. So if you guys liked these, you know, leave your comments below, leave a like, do whatever, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time, perhaps. Yeah, probably. So yeah, peace out, guys.